this mic is here for a reason, right? Because it's, anyway, it's okay. It's okay.
Move it wherever you need to.
What's that?
We just didn't want somebody to trip over it. Move it out if you need to.
Okay. Okay, this is much better. I like this. I'm not tripping over the desk. Good afternoon, you guys. Here we are again. Couple of quick announcements. With how can I say this nicely? Oh, I won't. Make sure your phones are silenced. Okay? Just a thought, you know. I was going to be really nice about it, but then I thought, yeah, just turn those phones off. Okay. Also, did everybody sign in? Because our own Donna Nelson brought the flowers and the vase, and we have a drawing afterwards, and we get that from the list. So if you have not signed in, please do so. And if you brought a piece of something to share for Spooky, be sure that you have signed in as well.
And
Yes.
display it back
I'm
there.
number 17.
Oh, okay. Everybody know we do not pick 17. Okay, we're going to get down to the nitty gritty, and that's with our presenter, Linda Nunes. And what I'd like to do is just give me 1 minute, because her bio on the website says so much more about her than I could. So, gives you some fabulous background. Linda Nunes is an award-winning mixed media artist from California's Bay Area. Where in the Bay Area?
San Jose.
San Jose? Me too.
Everyone who lived in San Jose, raise their hands. All right, hold on, wait.
She's also a workshop demo leader, curator, and juror who now lives near Sacramento.
Everyone who lives near
Rancho-
Sacramento, raise their hands.
I think it's Rancho Cordova
Yes.
to be exact. Okay. She has exhibited paintings, sculpture, I love sculpture, permanent and temporary installations locally and in the Bay Area, along with several large commissioned pieces for restaurants and other commercial spaces. Her work is part of numerous private collections throughout California and the U.S. Period. Additionally, Nunes is one of the original 3 co-founders of Rancho Cordova Arts. Please share with me in welcoming Linda Nunes.
Make these changes here so that we don't blow everybody out.
Am I on? Can you all hear me?
Yeah, now try it.
Hello, hello.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, I'm Linda Nunes. I think I'm really thought of as the encaustic girl because I've been doing that for so long. And the last 8 years I've been working with cold wax. Cold wax is also a beeswax product. It loves mixed media, which makes me very happy. But that's where the similarity ends. There's no heat involved with cold wax. You can do different things to it in different drying stages, but we'll get to that. I thought I would start with talking about materials and move to how to prep your cold wax right before you start painting with it. Move on to my process. I'm sure that every cold wax artist has their own process. I'll tell you a little bit about how I work. Wood is probably the go-to for most cold wax artists. It's porous, rigid, and sturdy, and that's important, especially if you like to get in there and scrape away and use mark making. The wood could do funky things as far as sap or wood acid, so I would give it a couple good layers of an acrylic gesso. My go-to is an American Easel cradled panel. Does everybody know what I'm saying when I say a cradled panel?
No.
Okay. This is your panel, and this is your cradle. The cradle could be non-existent and just have a panel. It could be very wide. This is not American Easel, it's one of my student quality things, but you get the idea. This is a cradle panel. Arches oil paper is also super easy to use with cold wax. It's already prepped for you to use with oil, which is what we pigment the cold wax with. Once you tape an area, you don't get that oil halo, so that's also a very easy thing to use. Canvas. Canvas is not compatible or suitable to use with cold wax. It doesn't have the rigidness, the absorbency. It'll change with humidity, and it just doesn't hold up to aggressive use when you're scraping and doing different mark making techniques. Grounds. Everybody understand what I'm talking about? Grounds. Grounds are what you're going to put on your substrate or work surface. It's what's in between your work surface and whatever you're using on top of that, oils, paints, whatever. This is what you cover your substrate with, or your paint surface, and what you're actually painting on. The best grounds, we mentioned acrylic gesso earlier, are absorbent, resistant to oils and solvents, and give it a little bit of tooth, something for your paint to hold on to. And they also provide a barrier between your wood and your oils.
So spell the name of the product, the preferred product.
Any acrylic gesso.
Any acrylic gesso?
Yeah.
Okay.
And acrylic gesso is cool because it comes in clear, black, white, gives you some creative possibilities. It gives it a little tooth, and so that would be probably my go-to. Panels that are already prepped for you. You don't always have to prep things. You can buy things already prepped. This is encaustic. This is RNF encaustic board. This is just the panel. It's not cradled. Just saves you a step. Ampersand clay board would also be really good. It's ultra smooth and very absorbent. Ampersand gesso board. They all kind of look like this. All of the labels look similar to this. And it's ready to paint, and it's best if you're planning heavy texture. Things to work on. Tools. I rarely use paintbrushes. Probably won't take you very long to figure out that I am not a representational painter. I can. I just don't enjoy it as much as working in an abstract direction. Let's see. So tools. Oh, let's see. Oh, this little thing. Every once in a while, you just want to get your finger in that paint, and you're messing with oil paints, super messy, and then you go to scratch your nose and your eye, and you've got paint everywhere, So this is, I can take this off, and my hand's clean. I found these little things at Blick. Finger cots. Super cool tool.
Finger what?
Cots. C-O-T-S. It's finger cots. I use them all the time. Brayers, palette knives, scrapers, these paint shapers I use all the time. They come in different widths. They just kind of move your paint around. Tons of paper towels. Working with cold wax and oil is messy. It's fun, but it's messy. So something to clean up with. So Gamsol, it's an odorless mineral spirit. It will clean your surfaces, it'll clean your hands, it'll clean your brushes. I have this in a giant gallon container. Gamsol. But I brought it for you to look at, so I hope you'll come up to the table and kind of cruise around stuff. And if you can't see, come move closer. I'm good with that. Mixed media. I mentioned earlier, I'm a mixed media girl, so I love playing with other stuff. Possibilities, hand pastels. Anybody work with these? Oh my gosh, these are so lovely. They're like giant eyeshadows, highly pigmented, low dust, and the wax loves them.
Hold that kind of right in front of the camera so we get a good shot of it on the TV. Okay, you guys see that? Good, thank you.
Comes in a million colors, metallics, darks, lights. I use them all the time. Stencils, of course, oil sticks. Anybody use oil sticks? These are luscious, they're like lipstick. They're made by a company called R&F that also makes all the encaustic materials out of New York. They're basically linseed oil, highly pigmented, a little bit of wax, enough to hold their shape. They come in all kinds of colors too. Great for making glazes, oh my goodness. But they are kind of like working with oil, so I would add a little bit of my Galgid, which we'll talk about in a second, just to speed up drying time. Wax-based crayons. I can never pronounce this, but I love these. Neocolor too, how about that? Water-soluble crayons, these are not like Crayola.
Is it
Carandache, thank you. I feel so fancy now. Water soluble, you can use them like crayons or you can wet them and they move around like watercolor. Very fun. Woody Stabilos, where did that guy go? Here he is. I have, I think, a set of 18. These are very cool for mixed media people. They're a three-way tool. They work as a pencil, a watercolor, and a crayon. They're water soluble. You don't have to use them with water. They're a lot of fun to play with. And probably every one of my finished pieces ends up with that in there somewhere. When I finish a piece, this is probably a really important tool, a workable fixative. I just want to spritz the whole thing in case I've got anything that's going to smear, like pan pastels, or anything that'll scratch off, like my woodies. You could also put a finish on it too, but I think I would still put a workable fixative on it first. It also gives it a little bit of a satin finish. So I hope you can get this. I'm going to prep cold wax. Can everybody see this right here?
Now we can.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Okay. Move it out of the way. So, this is a tub of cold wax. This one happens to be made by Gamblin. It's made by different companies. When you buy it from the art supply store, it looks like cold cream. There's no color to it. It looks like lard or cold cream or something like that. So we're going to prep that before we ever add our pigmented oils to it. We're going to add Galgid gel, also sometimes called G-gel. And the Galgid adds strength and flexibility to your medium. It makes your oils dry faster, which is really nice. And it also gives it a little bit of a satin finish. So I've got 3 ounces here, and I'm going to divide that into 3 sections. It's a visual thing. So I want to add 1/3 Galgid to this. So I can tell that I've got this height and this much real estate here, that I want the same kind of shape for my Galgid. And everybody can see this, I hope?
Okay, I'm confused, and hopefully I'm not the only one.
So what did you just squirt out there? What was that?
That was Galkid gel,
Okay, and tell me what the white stuff is.
and the white stuff
That's
is
your
cold wax.
Okay.
So we're adding 1/3 Galkid gel to about, as a third of whatever amount of cold wax I've got down here, which happens to be 3 ounces.
That's why you made 3 marks, to get, okay, the idea.
So now it's getting all mixed
Got
together.
you, okay. You made 3 marks to have a curve.
Yeah, so that I can
Gotcha.
I visually see what 1/3 is.
And so what, that helps your
This is gonna make it dry faster.
faster, okay.
Yeah. It would be really difficult to use the cold wax on its own. It would just take forever. I do like working with cold wax in the summer because my garage gets super hot. I can stick a piece out there. Usually I work on 1 or 2 pieces at a time. And by 1 or 2 days, I can bring it back in. It's probably at the next drying stage. I keep mentioning drying stages. I've got a handout for you that we'll talk about later, because that's really important. So now I've got this amount of cold wax and G-gel mixed together. When I start to paint, manganese blue, that's pretty. Let's say about whatever amount, doesn't really matter. It's gonna be 50-50, oil paint to this combination. Is that as clear as mud, probably?
Yep.
So I've got this tiny little bit, I'm gonna add that same amount. There's no measuring, it's all eyeballing this thing, you know. So, this is what I'm actually going to paint with. I've got my cold wax in there, I've got my Galkid in there, I'm good to go, ready to go.
Can I ask a question? If you put more of your mixture there into that vein, is that gonna make it more translucent?
If I wanted it more yes, it would.
Okay,
And it probably would be fine, the drying time would, I don't think it would change much of anything. It would make it a little more transparent.
gotcha.
So if you were making a glaze, that would be the direction you want to go in. So now that's what I'm painting with.
Fab's question was?
The question was add more of the white mixture, the wax and the gel that, with the colored paint to make it more translucent.
Thank you.
So when I'm done, if I got any of this left, this keeps me from dipping my scraper or whatever always into my can, so I'm not contaminating it with different oil paints. I'm working just with this. And when I'm done, I can scoop this back in my little pot and seal it, and it'll last a good week. So that's the prep for cold wax. That's what happens before I ever start laying down wax onto my panel. Everybody understand? Any questions?
Yeah, is that just a piece of watercolor paper then that you're mixing it on top of, or a palette, or?
I'm sorry, what?
What is
The
the,
surface that you're mixing it on top of, what is that?
This. Oh,
Yes.
good question. So this is kind of my disposable palette. It's created from freezer paper, a piece of cardboard, and blue painter's tape. And I did have garbage somewhere nearby.
Oh, I moved it. Let me
Oh.
get it.
for your convenience, bring it back out, Kathy.
I was kind of tripping over it.
Little did you know that was staged as part of the set production already.
So nothing sticks to the freezer tape. It's really easy cleanup. And if I did wait a couple of days and it was kind of like hardening, I would get my little Gamsol out and just clean everything up. Super easy. So my process, now that we've done all of that. Oh, before I start that, I want to tell you I brought you some possibilities, some yummy goody things. I've got 2025 calendars with all of my artwork. You can take me home for a year. They make great Christmas gifts. I think I've got 3 cold wax pieces on Arches oil paper, and I've got 4 on 4x4 cradle panels, just like a large piece, just tiny. They're all wired and ready to go. If that interests you, see me afterwards. Anyway, my process. Let's see if I can make some room here. Okay, so I've gessoed my wood, and I'm starting with that bare white surface, which is so scary. So I just want to get rid of it. I just want to play, and I just want to get rid of it. So I might put some cold wax on it. I might sketch out a possible composition. I might play with some things. I might put some collage elements down. I might add some texture with acrylic, because you can paint on top of acrylic once it's dry, and it will keep its wonderful texture. I might do that. But it's just playing. I'm not creating a finished piece at this point. Some of this might peek through when I'm completely finished. And I love it because it adds interest to your finished piece. So, continuing to move forward. We're still playing. I might scrape into some of the paint. I might create some different shapes. I might start to consider color combinations, stamps, stencils. I've done a little bit of texture here. Nothing is important at this point. It's just an underpainting.
So Linda, what you're showing us is what you would put on that whiteboard. And is that cold wax that you've got there? Or
Yeah,
that
this is
just
all
paint?
cold wax.
It's all cold wax.
Well, I would say most of it is cold wax. Charcoal in this little corner,
Okay,
acrylic up in these 2 areas, collage element down here.
okay,
I'm just playing on the board. I'm getting rid of the white.
okay.
I start to see, are any of these shapes kind of speaking to me? Any of those color combinations speaking to me? I'm starting to think, well, what do I want to get rid of? What do I want to cover? What maybe looks, what do I want to add somewhere? It's starting to come together. It's starting to look like something. It's little things are starting to talk to me. I start to consider shapes, lines, marks, maybe repetition somewhere. Sometimes at this point, I have to set it in my studio. My kitchen backs up to my studio, so I can kind of go past the door and see what I've got there. And let it sit for a day, a week, until the next step comes to me. It's, in my head, it's starting to look like something. So I'm determining now, what do I want to keep? What do I want to get rid of? What color combinations are not working for me? Placement of elements start to take shape. I might even pencil in, does anybody ever play with clear film as far as placement? You'll draw something on clear film, and that way you can move it around, see where you like it, see where it's working, composition-wise. Well, I might try that. I do that often. So now it's really starting to come together. I'm on a roll. I kind of know where I'm going now. I know what a finished piece is kind of going to look like. I'm moving very deliberately, and I'm really thinking about what I'm doing now. This whole process could take a week, who knows, because you're always waiting for the previous layer of oils to dry. So it's not a fast process. So I'm starting to ask questions. Where does my eye take me? Is there a focal point? Do I need more detail anywhere? Is there enough value change? Really important. Is there just enough variation in general as far as lights and darks, small versus large, soft versus hard edge? In an abstract piece, all of those art principles and elements are just as important. It's not slapping stuff on a background and calling it good. Finally, does it look finished? So, I teach a lot of classes, and sometimes they're experienced artists, sometimes they're newbies, and that's all good. I find that a lot of artists, when they're first starting out, they're working on a piece and they're focused and the piece is like this far from their face. They're working and you know what comes out of that could be really interesting, really great. But it doesn't have a focal point. It doesn't look finished. That's my main point. It doesn't look finished. So that's always a question I'm asking myself. Does it look finished? So, this little guy up in the upper left corner is this piece. It's 24 by 24, cold wax and oil and a lot of mixed media. But here's that texture that we talked about earlier. Stabilo woodies all over the place. More texture in here. If you could come close, you could see all this wonderful texture. So many things going on. It's just a ton of fun. I have so much joy in messing with this and playing with these things.
So Linda, did you reproduce the process for us on these cardboard? But that's the way you approached every single one of these
Yes.
steps on that big piece.
Yes.
That's awesome.
I did a series like that. Jerry, you were at the 48 Natoma show. There was a lot of those pieces, 24 by 24. And that's how I approach every single piece. I just start playing. There's a lot of joy involved for me in making a finished piece. I hope that comes across. Anyway.
So the little posters that you showed us are like your sketchbook.
Yeah.
And then it goes to a larger finished piece of art.
Yeah, so this is actually pretty close to being finished. But something like this, these are the stages that this went through. So as the cold wax dries, you can do different things to it, and it would take me forever probably to explain those stages to you. When it's, well, for instance, this is a handout for you, by the way. You can come pick this up after if you're interested. Wet. You've just laid down the paint. It's messy, it's wet, it's right out of the tube. You know, we saw that blue when I mixed it with the cold wax. At this point, when it's like that, you can take your little squeegees and all your little tools and move the paint around. Cover that horrible white background. Bigger tools give you less control, and that's a good thing. It could be a good thing. You can sprinkle additives into the wet paint. You can blot that paint with a crunched up paper towel, get some sort of a texture in there. You can actually take that paper towel and then move that color someplace else. This is the early stage. You're not using any solvents yet, and that's another handout that I've got for you too. At this point, you can embed things into it. You can embed lightweight papers, silks, brass, maybe collage items. So this is when I'm leaving it in the garage, my very hot garage. By the next day, it's semi-dry. So at this point, when the work is, it doesn't smudge anymore, but it's tacky. It comes off on my thumb. I can do different things to it. At this point, all the tools work well to add to spread paint. Palette knives, squeegees, soft brushes. You can brayer colors over colors. You can create texture. You can use rubber stamps, stencils. A lot of your mixed media starts coming into play. This is the time to add additives if you wanted to do that, if you wanted to add sand and get some really sandy kind of texture in there. Okay, this is a time that you could play with solvent reduction, and that's a whole other technique. I've got a handout on it. You're using, well, you could use Gamsol. There's several things you could use, but it softens your original hard paint that's hardening now on your panel, and you can scrape those areas away, especially if you've done your job and you've gotten all these other layers underneath. It'll bring those into the conversation.
Does it dry faster in a hot garage or a cold garage?
Hot, yeah. We love summers for cold wax.
What happens in a winter garage?
It just takes longer to dry.
But
And
it will
in
dry.
fact, if it, for a winter garage, when I know it's not even gonna get warm in there, I'll bring it into the house, because the house is gonna be warmer.
Uh-huh.
It'll dry a little bit faster. You have to kind of keep in mind that ugly is not necessarily a bad thing. When I'm teaching a class, I always tell my students that this is how my work will go. I'll have an idea for a series. I'll start working on it. It's going okay. And somewhere along the line, something goes very awry. And that's where the thinking process comes in. That's where you have to start looking at possibilities. What does it need? Does it need something taken away? Should I add something? In that thinking process, you usually end up with a better piece than you ever intended. It's a good thing. So now once it's dry, then the magic happens, for me anyway. Then I can bring out all of these toys, all of these cool, and so much more. And you can start playing on that hard surface. You can start adding all this fun detail, all this little fun detail. That finishes your piece. For me, that's what finishes my piece. Oh, these little cuts on my finger? This little thing? You know, you just want to stick your finger down here. It's like, I'm going to stick one right there. I'm going to stick another one right there. That's where the cots come in. Anyway, I hope I gave you enough information to get started. Any questions?
Pick Carolyn.
Yes.
Carolyn.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
I'm full of questions, maybe I don't listen up. So, I missed a moment. You mixed up your G-gel and your cold wax, you took your little dab of color and you mixed the.
50-50.
50-50. Then you took your cold wax, your mixture of cold wax, and you put it in a Tupperware or a container and closed it up. But I never saw what you did with the blue.
Oh, I didn't need it, so I
Okay,
just scraped it off.
So here's my question, so how many colors do you generally mix up when you first start? Do you create a palette of colors right then and there?
When I'm playing?
Uh,
Not necessarily.
okay,
In that first layer that's just going down on the surface, my thought process is just, I want to try different things. I want to try maybe a collage element. I want to try maybe some texture, some color
so you
combinations.
just choose one color and work with that for a while? No? Okay, let's not say the word palette, but do you have more than one color you work with at the beginning? Because
Sometimes, yeah,
those little
usually.
samples you showed us, so you mix up a few colors.
I do, yeah.
And then you always make your little maquettes, or whatever you wanna call it, your samples, and then you find what you like, and then you
So,
recreate it.
I'm
Or
gonna
at least you sort of recreate.
I'm gonna clarify one little thing. So, what's happening from this first page
Uh-huh.
to the last page is actually happening on a board. So it's not like a journal that I'm working on to get a thing together. It's actually happening
Okay.
on the board.
So these are not your sketches to get ideas for the
No,
bigger piece?
no.
Okay, so you.
Every
really
step
be-
that I showed you is actually taking place on the board.
Okay, and If you don't use all the color, do you store that color?
Yes.
Okay, what do you store it in?
I'll either store it or I'll slap it on the next
Something
piece.
else, okay.
Because it's gonna create that underpainting for the next piece.
Okay, I'm better, I got it. Do y'all-
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that.
Okay, so I have a question about her saying step there, because we went from pretty thick substance to that it was like already on the surface, and you said you don't use brushes. So could you describe in more detail, like how you got, maybe it's just an abstract thing, but what
How do I get it on the board?
Apply the little flowers, for example.
So the
I mean, not
flowers,
all flowers, they're not.
more detail happened as I laid more layers down.
But what did you use to lay the layers?
What did you apply it with?
The flowers, for instance,
Any
that
of it.
shape,
Any of it?
I might have used this little guy.
That's a little
You can
spatula.
buy those things in a pack on Amazon, all the way from really skinny to really fat. They all come in
You
one
kind of get
pack.
used to using these things to create little shapes.
So no brushes, even.
No brushes, no.
But you could
Yeah.
use brushes if
You
you want.
could, and if I used brushes anywhere on this, it was probably for those little orange dots in the middle of the flowers. I might have used just my, well, I might have used brushes for that, yeah.
Then there goes the question, how do you clean those brushes? Hot water?
No, because you're working with oil. So, Gamsol, odorless mineral spirit, or,
Oh.
there we go, or baby oil. Yeah. Either item you use, you're gonna wanna wash your hands after anyway, because otherwise you're full of baby oil or you've got chemicals on your hands, so. This does a great job. It'll clean things, it'll break things down. I wouldn't use it to break the oil down too much, but it'll break it down a little bit.
Because oil, you're using a solvent to clean. I was surprised when you were talking about some of your other items that you use are water soluble. How does that work with the oil? Because it's already dried, you
It
can make it
depends.
soluble on top of it, is that?
It depends on your level of dryness from your oil. I wouldn't use anything, well, plus I have the choice of using these as a water soluble item or not.
Right.
So I could just use these like crayons. I could just use this like a pencil or a crayon. But on my top layer, once that oil is dry, I've got a dry surface that I'm working on. I might add a little bit of water to some things. I'm not adding a cup of water, I'm adding just a tincture of water just to make things move around a little bit. Yes?
Are there other mediums you can use, watercolor paint or acrylic?
I have never used watercolor paint, although, like we just mentioned, some things are water soluble and I have used them on the dry oils.
I mean, mixing in with the wax?
No.
You can only use oil?
Yeah.
Okay.
Galca gel, yeah.
Okay.
So, on a more cerebral approach of abstraction, which I used to do, would you say that thanks to this multi-step that needs to dry and go back, it allows for a really thought-through process and piece versus using just acrylic where it dries really fast and you kind of need to move fast?
Yeah, it's probably just the opposite of acrylic because it's so slow. Excuse me. It's so slow. And at first it bothered me because when you're an encaustic girl, as soon as you're taking that hot brush out of the molten paint, it's already starting to harden. It's so immediate. And this is so much slower. But you get to learn those stages of dryness and the different things, you kind of look forward to them, the different things that you can do at each stage. So, did I answer your question?
Yeah.
As your substrate dries or your base
coat with the wax dries. Can you make it more fluid again by adding some kind of a solvent or something?
You can, and once you've built up all those layers,
Yeah.
if you use a solvent reduction, I'll be handing out, you can pick up a handout on it later, but there's different things that have more power as far as a solvent reduction. And when you can lay those down in very specific areas and let them sit for a little bit and scrape that first layer away, and those underneath layers will start to show, and you'll get all sorts of I don't want to say vintagey, but distressed kind of looks, possibilities, because you're starting to see those underneath kind of layers show through.
And what happens if you add alcohol over it?
I don't know if alcohol will do anything. You got to remember you're working with oil paints and cold wax, and so things have to be compatible with those things. Here, let's see. So, odorless mineral spirit is a medium strength solvent. You could add cold wax, fresh cold wax alone would be a very light solvent. Citrusol would be a really strong solvent. Just kind of depends on how much you want to be able to scrape away. And again, this is for you, it's right over here. Did I get everybody's questions?
I got one more.
Okay.
So, I know somebody who's allergic to the Gamsol. Does the odorless terpenoid work just as well?
They kind of do two different things. The Gamsol, like I mentioned earlier, it's going to help the oil dry faster. It's got a different purpose, where the Gamsol is really a cleaning product. It'll break down the oils, but I mainly use it as a cleaning product.
So I noticed on Amazon there's two different types of cold wax that are readily available. One is tagged cold wax medium. I assume that's the one we want. The other is called cold wax hair remover. I assume that is not the one we want. Got it.
Good distinction there.
Linda?
Yes.
My brain is starting to connect with this. I've taken Cheryl's class, her little class,
Mhm, yeah,
when
yeah.
she did cold wax.
Yeah, I think I was there too.
Were you? Yeah. It was fun.
Yeah.
But I still don't have the connection of, and I'm not an oil painter. Why not just do this with oils and forget the cold wax?
That's a really good question. There's some lovely oil paintings in the hallway, and I was looking at them before we came in here. And there is a definite difference in the visual effect using cold wax. There's just a lot more texture in a finished cold wax
And
piece.
depth too, right?
And depth.
And you can play more with the cold wax because it helps the oil dry?
And you can do so many more different things with those drying stages.
Right, okay.
That I don't think you can do with just oil.
Mhm.
And I never played with oil. I had this stuff sitting in my studio. Someone gave me this bigger container than this of cold wax. And I let it sit there for a year because I had no idea what to do with it. And then I started taking those little classes. And oh, I should show you this. This is like the Bible of cold wax by Rebecca Crowell and Jerry McLaughlin. If you have any questions at all, this is a great book. I think it's one of the only really, really complete workbooks. So please come up and look at things, touch things, ask me questions. I would love that. Can I answer anything else?
Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on a minute.
Okay.
Gotta do my thing here.
All right.
All right, try it. Try it.
Are you talking to me?
Yes, I am.
Can you hear?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
You're right.
Well, if we're all finished, thank you so much,
No
everyone.
more questions, huh? Well, thank you, Linda. Thank you.
fun.
What we'll do is take a 15-minute break, be back here just a tad after.
Oh, tell blanks tell them on the break to grab blanks.
Oh, on your break,
When I was learning about
we've
this,
got more
having
blanks
less
back
information
there,
was more
which is
useful.
for our challenge in January. I have the name here. It is, let the blanks do the talking. So, you take a blank, you go home, you paint it, and you bring it to the January meeting, okay? And they're there, so help yourself at that table, help yourself at this table, talk to Linda, eat, drink.
And it's okay to take more than one blank. If you're inspired by a series of things, please take the series. Please.
Linnell does not want to take these home, so take them. Okay, enjoy. I do want to thank Roberta. Roberta, hold your head, stand up or hold your hand up. Roberta filled in for Deborah. Deborah is our hospitality chair. Deborah is the one that provides all of this fabulous food.
No, the members bring food. Because they brought food.
Would you like me to go down the list as to what Roberta
Well, I'm
brought?
sure that she bring all of it.
Okay, thank you to the members who brought all this wonderful food, and especially to Roberta,
Yeah.
There you
who
go.
filled in for Deborah. Deborah got called out of town, and she emailed Roberta and asked if Roberta could, so thank you. Because that is quite a happy Halloween spread, thank you.
And Donna McPherson couldn't be here today, and so she sent her husband in with snacks.
Wow.
And I think that was above and beyond for John to do that for us. So that's a little credit for John.
Yes, what did he bring?
I don't know.
I'd like to mention the Christmas brunch. We had a blurb in yesterday's, this month, the last newsletter, we had a blurb, and I got a nice response. I have got 10 people signed up already. Is there anybody in this room? I think you're one of the 10.
Okay.
You didn't have to sign up, I signed you up. It is at the Sportsman's Hall in Camino, or Pollock Pines. Maybe it's Pollock Pines.
It's
on
Pollock
the-
Pines.
Pollock Pines on the Pony Express. It's a cabin, it's a log cabin, it's beautiful. And she can accommodate us, and so if you are interested, it's gonna be December 6th, and it is at 10:30. It's our regular time, Friday, December 6th. I'll put another blurb in the next newsletter, but if there's anybody that wants to go and hasn't notified me, do so, okay? Oh. Okay, before you leave. Okay, so along those lines, we're back to the brunch again. So along those lines, Shirley, do you want to introduce?
This is my husband, Mike. He has a very important job. We call him art support, and I can't do what I do without him.
Good to meet you. Thank you for joining us. Please take a seat. Let me just take this.
You're good. I'm gonna eat.
Yeah, no, you can go back and eat.
Yeah, we have snacks, Mike.
We have food.
Go get some snacks.
We have food. Okay, so Shirley, for those of you who attended last Christmas brunch, we have a choir. People who love to sing and sing Christmas songs, or holiday songs, I guess I should say. And she's looking for singers. And it would require getting together maybe once or twice to do some practicing. Is anybody interested?
Maybe.
Okay, don't everybody,
If anybody's too shy to admit you're interested in that, the way to go is to email Shirley Rowe, and she will hook you up with being part of the choral group. Because I don't know if I'd wave my hand right now, but in fact, none of you want me to wave my hand right now. I'll guarantee
All
that.
right. But sign up early, because I know it's gonna be a crowd.
Not in the chorus.
Right?
There'll be a crowd at dinner, breakfast, brunch.
Okay, all right.
It's actually in the
Moving along-
morning.
Moving along, Carolyn, who just, it has something in her, she just took a bite. I'd like Carolyn to give us a recap of our member show that was just a week ago.
Was that just a week ago?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Hi. I don't need this, but can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. We just had our spring PAA member show. We had fall. See?
That's okay, we got your back.
It was a member show. Whatever season it is, it was our member show. We had 125 entries, which is the most I've ever seen since I've been here, and I think it was 39 artists and 125 entries, and it was really nice. This was our subject matter based show. Cheryl Gleason was the judge, and if you haven't seen it, I just heard it was just posted.
Yes.
The judges' comments were videotaped.
Well, no, the judges' comments were posted the day the show opened. Cheryl's member critique that she did at our last member meeting was just posted yesterday.
Okay, so prior to our show, Cheryl came here. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to be here, and she chose some pieces to critique. Then we had our show, and she was the judge for our show, and she went around and talked about the winners, the pieces that she chose, and that is on our Placerville Arts Association YouTube channel, so you can see what Cheryl had to say if you haven't already been there and seen that. I understand we've had a lot of viewers for that.
111 on the walkthrough when
That's
I
pretty
left
darn
home
good.
today.
Best of show was Valerie Burkhoff, and we had lots of other winners. Obviously, we had 5 sales, which is pretty darn good. And then upcoming would be our spring member show. It'll be in April. I don't have a date set yet, but it's usually the first or second week of April. And I don't have a judge yet, so, hey Linda. It will be based on media rather than subject matter. We're doing this way now. Well, as long as I'm in charge, it'll be fall will be subject matter, spring will be based by media, and the categories are oils, acrylics, pastel and drawing, photography, water media, 3-dimensional, and miscellaneous, because we've got this.
Well, is that where you're putting AI, or will AI have its
Oh,
own?
AI is going to be in miscellaneous again. Sorry, I know. I don't even say it. Don't even go there. Oh, I would love to spread out all these different categories, but it just doesn't work very well. Fab?
Gold wax, for instance, would go well.
Okay, cold wax would be with oil, I would assume. Or wait a minute. Oh, we must
Mixed
have a
media.
mixed media. I knew I missed one. We have a mixed media and collage category. So your cold wax would be under mixed media and collage. I knew I was, because I was doing this off the top of my head when I walked in and she said I had to talk to you.
Yeah.
We had a wonderful write-up. Thank you for Sylvia Coleman, who sends our information, our stories, pre-show and post-show to the Mountain Democrat, and they gave us a whole page pretty much. We have 2 images, the story, all of the winners, and a blurb at the bottom about Linda's presentation today. So be nice to the people of the Mountain Democrat, and be nice to Sylvia, because she's the one that sends these in, and she does an awesome job. So that's it. That's it. What else can I say?
What, goodbye.
Oh, well,
It's been a pleasure.
Adieu.
Sylvia, you rock. You know that? You rock. That's the front page of the prospect?
Yes, of the section.
The
Yeah.
whole page. I have to do it.
I don't want to break the spell.
Spell.
I don't want to meet her, I don't want to talk to her. I'm afraid I'll break the spell. Oh my God.
And beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you, Carolyn, for chairing the member show. bang-up job.
Well, I just wanna say that Carolyn, I mean, I know she had a lot of help, but the member shows are just exquisite and wonderful.
You know why they're wonderful? Because of all of our wonderful artists.
I know.
There you
Okay,
go. There you
That's
go,
why they
because
are
we
so
follow directions, right? You know, between you and me, you guys, that's one of Carolyn's pet peeves.
I know, artists don't like to read instructions. They just don't. Neither do teachers.
Okay, we're done with you
We're
now.
done, we're so done.
Okay, Sue, if I could bring Sue up, you'll notice on your table that you've got handouts for the Honeycomb Project. Sue's gonna speak to us about that as well as what's going on in the Motherlode show right now. So take it over.
Okay. Thank you. So we were approached by Candace Garlock. Actually, I approached her first and invited her to enter in the Motherlode show. And then she asked us if we would be interested as a group to participate in the Honeycomb Project. And there's papers on your table. So I talked with the board and we were excited about it, so I'm bringing it to you guys. I had it in the newsletter, and I'll have it in the newsletter coming up, and the December one too. So the Honeycomb Project is a metaphor for the interconnectedness, collaboration, and strength found within a community. That's kind of their theme kind of thing. Although the theme, as far as what you would want to do, is loosely based on one's environment, landscape, and or place. Also, artists are encouraged but not required to include printmaking techniques. And don't let that stop you. It is not a requirement to have a printmaking technique. And PAA will buy the panels, and then Linnell said we'd have a party at her house, I think, to do the wiring. I don't remember that. And we have to let them know by February 1st, but I think we should let them know by our January meeting. Let us know so we can.
Which will be
let them
the
know.
second Monday of the month, because the third Monday is the holidays. January and February member meeting will be second Monday of the month.
And if you wanted to do it individually and not under PAA, you're welcome to do that too. There's a $20 fee for that, but because we're a nonprofit, we don't have to pay for anything but the hexagons.
And the wires to hang it.
Yeah.
And it's gotta be special wired, and so don't wire them. We are gonna have a wiring party
Yeah.
to get them done.
And what's cool is they've got this, I don't know how many, I don't think she knows, obviously not yet, because it's not until February 1st when she has to be alerted of how many pieces she's gonna have. But this has already been scheduled to travel for 3 years. So it's gonna be the entire project will first be shown at the Metro Gallery in Reno, at Reno City Hall from September 22nd to November 14th, 2025. And then it's going to be a feature exhibit at the Rocky Mountain Printmaking Alliance Symposium from October 15th to the 18th, 2025. That's a real short time for that much stuff, but okay. Then it travels to Las Vegas for a show in Nevada Humanities Program Gallery in spring of 2026. And it could be traveling further through the end of 2027. So, and we have the opportunity, I will ask Candace, because I'll see her Thursday. She's publishing a book that goes with this. She's done this before with another project. So as soon as we tell her we're going to be involved, she'll put our information on their blog, and then each artist, and this is what I'll find out for sure, if it's going to be each artist or just the group, will have page or pages in the book talking about what you've done, or what we've done as far as the Honeycomb Project is concerned. So I thought it would be fun, and I brought it to the board said cool, so I'm bringing it to you guys. So if you're interested in doing that, just let me know, take your name, and then we'll go from there.
How large are the pieces?
I looked at them on Amazon. I don't think they're that big. I think they're kind of like this. Does it say?
Somebody's actually reading.
Oh, good, because I did. 8 by 9. In a 6-pack, 8x9. We have to buy the ones they specifically say, so PAA will do that.
And that's why we need your advance commitment, so we know how many of them to buy.
Yeah, they come in a pack of 6. So, so that's that. And the Motherload Show, I'm astonished. We received 695 pieces to be entered this year. And we would have gotten more, but people missed the deadline, but they've told me, apologize that they missed the deadline. Still, that's humongous. We gave Dee a run for her money. I think she had to go through all that electronically and pick. And then I made her do some alternates because right now we have maybe 7 that have dropped out, which is a shame, but it happens every year. So that was 695 pieces. That was 295 artists that entered. We are probably, I'm hoping we will be showing 100 pieces. Usually we do more, but these 100 pieces, because people are going gigantic, take up about 120 to 125 pieces. So we have to think about the wall space and the floor space that we have at the MAC. So, so it's,
I have 9 pieces in my garage right now that have been shipped, and it's taking up more space than I've ever seen the pre-shipments take up before.
I think we have, what do we think, maybe 13 are being
Yeah.
shipped?
Yeah.
And there's people driving from LA, from Nevada, that didn't want to ship. They're coming here to us, or to the MAC on Thursday. So pretty impressive. I mean, I think it is anyway, but.
And everyone's invited to the reception.
Yes, I was gonna say, the reception is Friday, November 8th. It starts at 5, goes through 7:30. There'll be food, beverages, music, art, and Dee our judge will be giving a short presentation at 6 to award the winners.
And we'll video that, so that will be on our YouTube channel. And then Dee is going to speak to us at the November member meeting also?
Yeah, she is. She said she was, yeah. So, that's about it. Intake is Thursday, and we'll be there. Thanks. We'll see.
Thanks, Sue.
Sure.
Good job on it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sue and Carolyn are the chair and co-chair for the Motherload Show, and a ton of work goes into that. 3,000 private emails you sent out, Sue?
Me and team, Linnell, Angie, and Carolyn, yes, 3,000 emails we sent to artists, personally inviting them. But we also did a switch from NG Thingy to Cafe, and I think that was huge as well.
Yes, much more user-friendly
Yeah, it's-
for us, for PAA.
Yes,
Okay.
in a multitude of ways.
Okay. One more person I'd like to bring up, and that's Matt. And Matt is going to talk to us about the upcoming studio art tour. For
Upcoming next year.
Next year.
Upcoming for 2025. Take it away, Matt.
Oh, I'm blinded.
My wife told me not to go outside the house with this.
I was just going to announce he's not gay, and there you took the wind out of my sails by talking about your wife.
So actually, first off, I'd like to thank everyone in this room who helped in some large or small way for our last studio tour, which happened just a few weeks ago. We had over about 350 or more different individuals who attended the tour. And you know, if you count up the number of, we had this sign up sheet for a drawing that we did for art for people who attended. We had there were over almost 650 or more individuals signed up. Some of them, 3 people went to 7 studios. And there were 5 or 6 that went to 6 studios. We should get a special something for those people who went to so many. But I really do appreciate everyone who helped out with the organizing and the publicity. And there's just, if I started naming people in the room, I would forget someone. But a special thanks for Linnell for all of the help that she did, and she wasn't even part of the tour. So, and we got Debbie back there who did our brochure, just a wonderful job. Lots of comments about how wonderful the brochure was. Thank you. And I know we just got finished with a tour, but in order to have a successful tour, we need to get started organizing things, and we are having a meeting on November 20th. There will be Zoom available, and there will also be in person at the Rayleigh's on Placerville Drive at noon. Anyone who would like to be able to contribute to the organizing of the tour. This isn't a time for, if you just want to, well, I should say, if you want to participate in the tour, I would really encourage you to do something to help out, because there's a lot of things to do. We are in search of someone to be a chair and a co-chair and all those other kinds of things. So if you would like to volunteer in a big or small way, we'd love to hear from you, and come to our meeting on the 20th. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Matt did a tremendous job on the tour too. He stepped in to chair because Myra became ill and couldn't do it. And he, not only that, he did all the website work. So thank you so much, Matt, for your work on the tour. It was amazing.
Thanks, Matt. 2 more quick announcements, and then we get to the Spooky Art Challenge. You're going to be hearing some talk about the Switchboard Gallery. Switchboard Gallery is on Broadway in Placerville, and it is a rather small gallery, but it is there, and we are looking into partnering with them to put on a show, an art show for a month there. And right now we're in the early process of looking at the prospectus and getting some ideas, but more information to follow, okay?
And it's actually Placerville, 525 Main Street.
Oh,
It's still
It's still
uptown,
Main.
not downtown.
oh yeah, okay, my bad. Main, not Broadway.
Yeah.
Did you have a,
No, I was just gonna point.
oh, you were gonna say, Kathy, you are just dumb. It's Main, not Broadway. Good thing I can laugh at myself. Oh, and Vesla is with us. Vesla's in charge of our paint outs. That's where you painters go out and do plein air painting. And she wanted me to make the announcement because it's kind of been on hold. And it is for Thursday, November 14th, from 9 to 1. And it's at Joyce's Down Home Farm. Is that our
I'll send
Joyce?
out more information.
Okay, it'll be in the newsletter.
Just save the date.
Yeah, save the date. You got the date? Okay, because it is popular. My gosh, you get about 9-10 people coming. Yay, okay. All right, we're gonna do the Spooky Art Challenge now, okay? And I got the list. So, Linnell, you're number 1. Do you wanna do number?
Let me stop fooling around with my phone.
Okay,
Pull around your phone.
okay.
Want me to bring you? Oh, you've got it.
And the camera is set up?
Pretty much.
Okay, because I'm gonna leave out of here,
Okay.
so that the focus is on the art and not me.
I couldn't decide which one to bring, so I brought 2. So, it's AI, as usual. And what I found was interesting about this process with AI is that I did some black and white images, and they didn't feel as spooky as these images that I'm showing you right now. And so yeah, I just prompted it with spooky, and sometimes I put a pumpkin in it or a lantern in it, and that's what I came up with for spooky. Carolyn shamed me last time I brought something in here inappropriately framed, so trust me, that won't happen again.
Oh, on Europe? I did not, I hate the microphone. I did not make this for this challenge. I just had already done it. I went through a little self-portrait thing for about a month and had this, so I looked around. It's the only thing, I think my face is just spooky. But oh, wait a minute. Anyway, I just thought it was kind of spooky, the uplighting and the one eyeball, so there's my spooky. There it is.
Very well
Lori, where's Lori? There's Lori.
Who's up for Lori?
Sherry. And Jerry. And Debbie. Okay, so Lori's up, okay.
So I'm the wood person, and I found this piece of wood, I think, in my wood pile. And I've done nothing except for add some black glass in the 2 eye sockets that were already there, and a little black glass in the nasal passages. So for me, certainly nothing I want to put in a show, but I call it the unexplained, because it could be a pterodactyl, it could be an alien, it could be a skeleton of a bird, who knows? But anyway, it's kind of my creepiest thing that I've got, so.
Sherry Morris, Sherry Lynn Morris.
Okay, I have several things. I started off doing kind of these, I don't even know what you call it, goddesses.
Go to camera. There we go.
Goddesses. And my daughter says they weren't scary enough. So I remembered I had a board that's been sitting around for years that says spooky, and so I just painted it, and it goes with your theme there of the stuff you want for January.
Very nice, Sherilyn. I agree with your daughter, the first ones weren't spooky enough.
Jerry.
Jerry? Jerry's in this challenge?
Well, why is your name on
She's
it?
trying the wrong list.
Well, you're not getting flowers. You signed the wrong list.
That is scary.
Okay, so you should be on the member thing.
Yeah.
Too late. No flowers
If
for
I got
you.
a name on there, you might
Debbie.
Mine is Halloween Nightmare. And no, it wasn't something that I did specifically for this challenge. It was a painting that's been sitting around for years. I want to say maybe 12 years. It's been sitting around and I never knew what to do with it. And when this was announced, I was like, oh, I could do something with that, because it was already kind of spooky, so.
Nice, very nice.
Did you do anything to it before you brought it here?
Oh, yeah, I mean, made it more look like Halloween. I added the tombstone, the pumpkin, and, yeah, I made it more, I made it more spooky. It was just a girl before that.
Nice. Challenge repurposing.
No,
sculpture.
So, the name of this one, am I doing it?
There you go.
Oh, the name of this one is Where's Lunch? But what inspired this was we had a dead skunk on our property. Have you guys ever had a dead skunk?
Yeah.
The smell, it permeates your sinuses for days. And we drove past and there were 6 vultures hanging on the fence. One was down on the ground eating it. And and I said, I gotta do that. I gotta do that. So a dead tree, vultures looking for lunch. It's spooky because that's what happens in Halloween, right? Dead trees and vultures.
It's really perfect, although we do need a dead skunk at the bottom of the trunk.
I can do that. I can do that. So, that's, thank you. Thank you. That is, no, it doesn't wrap it up. Hold on. Hold the phone. My pen and list is over there. Excuse me for a minute. Okay, I have to get Jerry off this list and get her on this list.
Oh my God. A chance at the flowers? Really?
Okay. Okay, what we have is Donna Nelson. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Donna is just so, I don't know, thoughtful. Thoughtful. She always brings a vase of flowers and then we raffle it up. Well, we don't raffle it off, we just kind of pick it off. Anyway, we have got numbers from 1 to, how did I do this? 17. Okay, 1 to 23. But don't pick 17. Okay.
Oh, that's a burn.
Well, yeah. So, okay, Sue, you pick a number from 1 to 23.
3. Hope it's not me.
Carolyn. Sylvia, what I did, I moved you off of 17 and put you on another number.
Tricky.
Jerry, I put you on another number.
Tricky.
We're fair.
Neither of them were 3.
And with that, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you all for
Thank you
coming.
all for being here.